Have you ever stayed up all night binge watching the latest K-drama in the comfort of your own bed, telling yourself just one more episode, but all of a sudden the show's over and you have no idea what to do with your life now? What is it about these K-dramas that make them so addicting? They have quite literally taken over the world, and although they are in Korean, they break language barriers by creating very thoughtful characters and stories, and by focusing on showing very detailed human emotions. The success of K-dramas is actually not because of one specific element or formula. It's the combination of so many different things, like addressing social cultural issues in an entertaining storyline, skillful acting, appealing to aesthetics, and having a platform that allows millions to watch. Have you ever noticed how in K-dramas we often obsess over the smallest acts of physical touches? Like when we finally get an accidental hand brush in episode 9 out of 16 episodes? K-dramas weaponize skin deprivation, giving us a sense of delayed gratification, unlike Western shows that always rush straight into the more intimate scenes. Slow burn aspects of K-dramas like this releases oxytocin, which is actually known as the cuddle or love hormone. It makes us feel more connected to the characters, especially during these romantic scenes, to give us feelings of warmth and excitement. Plot twists in K-dramas also triggers the release of dopamine, which is also why episodes tend to end on cliffhangers. This forces our brains to continue to think about these characters and the plot, which means we have to watch the next episode and forget about sleeping for the night. Watching K-dramas is also a way to escape daily stress. When the drama follows a predictable and familiar 16-episode storyline, our cortisol levels are actually lowered by up to 18%, which means it literally lowers our stress levels. Now, how do you feel when you finish a drama? What's the first thing that you do once it's over? Do you search for edits or behind-the-scenes YouTube videos? This is actually because going back to watch clips like this prolong the feeling of serotonin that was triggered when we were actually watching the drama. It's called parasocial grief, where our brain literally mourns the fictional relationships and treats it as a real breakup. fMRI scans actually show identical activity in heartbreak and post-drama depression, so it's a real thing. K-dramas are also unique because they have universal messages that international viewers can also relate to, despite the dramas being specific to Korean culture. For example, Squid Game heavily dealt with topics like socioeconomic inequalities, competition for resources, and power dynamics between different groups of people. These are issues that not only affect South Korea, but also other parts of the world. Now, the 5th most watched non-English show on Netflix ever is a K-drama called The Glory, and they focused on school bullying. The 4th is called All of Us Are Dead, and it's centered around a zombie virus outbreak at a high school. So this actually combines post-apocalyptic worlds with your typical high school drama. Extraordinary Attorney Woo is one of the most popular K-dramas, and it is about a young lawyer on the autism spectrum who is amazing at what she does, but does get bullied for her differences. Now, beyond these specific themes, there are also different genres of K-dramas, such as romance, thrillers, horror, adventure, comedy, action, fantasy, and just so much more. K-dramas are also known for their romantic elements, which has proven to be very popular internationally because they appeal to the female gaze, unlike Hollywood, which focuses more on the male gaze. Most scriptwriters for Korean dramas are actually women who are actively involved in the entire production. In fact, approximately 90% of screenwriters in Korea are females, while only 27% of all directors, producers, writers, and other production staff are women in the United States. These Korean dramas also do not objectify the human body and focus on character expression rather than physical intimacy, so they take advantage of lingering looks and subtle touches, and almost always use music to build the mood. Beyond romantic relationships, K-dramas also emphasize the importance of female relationships. So the female lead are always surrounded by this supportive group of friends, and even the male leads have like comedic relief friends that help to move the plot forward and point out the obvious. K-dramas are also universally known for being very visually appealing. They pay extra attention to the aesthetics in a way that American series usually do not. The characters are always very fashionable, and they use fashion to define the characters. For example, the rich girl is always wearing luxury brand names and fashionable clothes, and even the poor girls still have flawless skin and are still dressed nicely. Even in Squid Games, their costumes are instantly recognizable, and wealthy characters in dramas like The Glory are always dressed impeccably. Beyond their wardrobes, Korean dramas take advantage of lighting, creating warm and soft atmospheres using things like candles and string lights during cozy and intimate scenes. They also take advantage of their camera work, shooting the same scene from different angles and using slow motion for more dramatic or heartbreaking scenes to really capture all of the actors' expressions. Their scenery is also very well thought out. They always go to the aesthetic cafes and restaurants, and their homes reflect the characters' personalities. So using the same example, the rich girl always lives in this very neat and yet luxurious looking apartment, while poorer families live in houses that looked lived in but still cozy. When depicting a character who might not have had as nice of a home life, they always live in this dark house in the alleyways with poor lighting and dark colors. Color psychology is something else that they also take very seriously, using light and soft pastels for romantic scenes, while thrillers use dark and very contrasting colors to set the mood. Now let's not forget the importance that music plays in these K-dramas. Korean original soundtracks called OSTs are specific to each drama and are used to heighten the emotional impact of specific scenes. They're not just used as background noise or background music, they're actually strategically used in romantic, suspenseful, or even tragic moments. Most importantly, they have a specific set of songs that are repeated throughout the entire drama, allowing us to become familiar with the songs. And then if you heard these songs outside of the drama, then it would immediately remind you of that specific drama. So it serves as more of a marketing tool as well. Let's also not forget that oftentimes they have English lyrics to appeal to international viewers. K-dramas don't just tell love stories. They combine different elements like psychology, aesthetics, and Korean culture in a way that is emotionally engineered to make us attached to these characters. So the next time you finish a drama and feel like your life has no meaning, just remember that was probably never an accident. Thank you so much for watching.